That's why I wear jackets now.
Right. All right, y'all are live. We're live.
Yay.
FYI, if I pass out, it's because I'm sucking it in so you don't see my new dad bod. Oh, should we put this down?
He's birthing a new child.
I am.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Don't Panic. Our switcher is running late. He got stuck in some traffic. Oh, I like how the blues look on there.
Please don't touch me.
And so I had to go and switch and get behind the computer and then run back over here. So I apologize for that. Without further ado, I'm going to have all of my special guests for this show to introduce themselves, starting right here to the left.
Hey guys, as I catch everything, my name is Michael Garza. I am a student and I volunteer a lot in the community.
I'm Brandy Marsky. I'm a writer and a drag artist, and I like to piss people off.
Most of all, her mother.
Oh, well. Oh, well. Who just so happens to be. I was like,
I have the
what are
stretch
you
marks
doing
to prove
me?
it. Yeah. My child walks in the door and almost turns and leaves.
I know, I turned around. I did. I completely turned
Horrible.
around.
No love and respect. It's because I beat her with coat hangers as a child.
Oh, my God.
I'm Joe Hostleton, Jenna's guy. This is my bestie. I love this girl.
Yes.
And I'm surprised that y'all are sitting next to each other now. I know when you walked in, you're like, that's right, I didn't know Joe was going
to
to be.
sit over there, but that's like your spot. So I was like, rock in a hard place. What do you do?
Gotcha. Well, speaking of rock in a hard place, United Airlines, again, and you know how much I love them. Actually, I sort of kind of was on their side with the whole throwing out that terrible person. He deserved to be thrown off. And so now there was a... Coquito was this cute little black Frenchie. I happen to have a Frenchie. And so according to the family, they had this dog and they had it in a proper pet carrier. Yeah. And when the plane was about to take off, the flight attendant walked by and said, you have to put that over in the what is it called?
The overhead.
The overhead compartment.
The overhead compartment. And the little girl, when they were interviewing the little girl, they said, do you, put it there. And she said, no, there's a dog in it. And the flight attendant said, no, it doesn't matter. Just put it up there. And then, of course, 3 hours later, when the flight was done, they opened up the little thingy and the doggy was dead. Thoughts? What do you think happened?
Well, there's no oxygen going in the overhead compartments, number one. Everybody knows that. Or at least they should know that. Yeah. Number two, why would you take a United airline?
Maybe they're cheap.
Can we re-rank though?
Yeah.
I'm curious though, and this doesn't negate how terrible this is, but you can't have anything in your lap when it's during takeoff or landing. Why didn't they get up after they took off and take the dog out?
I don't fly.
That's a good question.
That is a good question.
Especially when they talk about how the dog was crying and whimpering the entire time. If that was my animal, I would get the dog out.
Right.
If it was my animal, I would put the thing underneath the seat in front of me, because if it's a Frenchie,
that's where it's supposed to go.
That's where it was.
I think it's probably.
And the flight attendant said, no, you have to put it up there.
Oh no, I'd be like, fuck that. That's my bag. This is my one carry-on. It's stowed properly underneath. Mm-hmm. Go fuck yourself or refund my ticket.
My dog would have a ticket.
Right.
That is the ticket, though. They still charge you to have the dog on there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it goes under the seat in front of you or something like that.
Well, according to the story, the flight attendant who asked them to put it up there, when they opened it up, she was shocked and very saddened by what happened, which...
Whatever.
I think this is what happened. I think the little girl said to the flight attendant, there's a dog in there, and the flight attendant's mind was somewhere else. She wasn't listening.
Oh, well.
I don't think she shouldn't be a flight attendant.
Right.
That's your 90% of your job is to listen.
If that was happening to me, I would say, I'm sorry, did you hear what I just said? There's a living thing in here. I'm not putting it in the overhead compartment.
Would she say that about a baby? If a baby was in something?
Carrier. Yeah, just shove the carrier with your kid in the overhead
compartment. Or let's just put it on the bottom with all the other luggage in the plane.
So now that the unfortunate incident is over, what do you think this family should do?
Bankrupt.
I
Bankrupt
think
the
they should
airline.
sue the airline. I'm sorry.
Again.
I would. I
Right?
mean, And this isn't the first. You know, I'm all about this is the second time. You know, they've had issues. I think they just need. I mean, their dog is dead. Like if that were Simon or one of my kids, I'd be fucking livid.
Right. Well, that's actually not the only dog incident that has happened in the last couple of days, but we'll get to that in a second with United Airlines.
Oh, que la chingada.
But so the question now is, yes, let's just say this family is going to sue. Now the question is how much and why?
Everything. What's the dog owner's name? Because that would be the new name of United Airlines.
Right? Yeah. I mean, because this is the difficult part is you're putting a value to something that is living, to a pet. So how do you...
You would equivalent it to an actual human baby. These are people's kids. I mean, it's a
Which
dog.
would be about $438. That's the price. That's the price that Maggie from The Simpsons rings up when they do that.
Oh,
yeah, that's why I said that.
I don't have time to be
Now,
dissecting Simpson episodes.
Now, see, from the United perspective, strictly in a business sense, they would look at it as what did it cost you to get it, and that's what we want to pay you.
That's not how that works.
Yeah, that's not how that works.
If you're gonna go that petty, then I want shots. I want registration fees. I want vet fees. I want all that stuff.
Well, I have a number in mind.
And then I would want for a complete overhaul of your pet care policy on how they are boarded, how they're taken care of, and a complete training of every flight attendant, every employee.
And I would want that flight attendant fired.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's what everyone's waiting on because from what I understand, to this moment, she's not fired yet.
Yeah.
No, she probably got a fucking raise because they're ignorant and stupid over there. They don't know what they're doing with human lives. They're dragging people off of their own airplanes and they're letting incompetent flight stewardess or whatever you want to call them put like dogs in overhead bins. Like,
yeah, I have a number in mind if I were to sue. I was just thinking of my dogs and I thought, what's something that's not ridiculous but fair? 100,000.
I was just thinking that was the first number that popped into my head.
That's usually like a base number. Like that's kind of like a base number.
Like picture, you know, heaven forbid anything were to happen to your doggy. What number would you come up with if they did that? Well, you have 2 doggies, yeah.
But they don't even like me. So
it'd be a blessing.
I'm about to say.
You know, this is the kind of thing that I've never considered, and I hope I never have to, and I wouldn't wish even having to consider that on anybody. I couldn't even pick a number. Like there's no value amount. Like,
and I don't think I would have put myself in that situation to begin with. Like I said, I think from the moment that they told me to do that, I would be raising hell, and I would be one of those people they'd be dragging off the airplane.
Right. Yeah, but for good reason. But for good reason.
with my dog at their ankle. Yeah.
Yeah, because I recently went on a flight on Southwest because I'm smart. I have education. And there was a lady or like a girl or whatever. She had her dog in her lap the entire time that we were on the flight, which I don't mind. I have dogs. It doesn't make a deal for me or deal breaker. But the second that dog went into the middle seat in between us, which was empty, that stewardess or flight attendant came up to our row and told the lady, move your dog because they did not buy a ticket. Because her dog was a quote unquote, not guard dog, but one of those anxiety dogs.
oh my gosh.
Yes, something assistant.
Yeah, like an assistant dog or whatever.
Right, yeah.
A service dog.
A service dog.
Yeah.
So I was just like, okay, well, at least she's doing her job because to me, it's not a big deal because there's nobody sitting in the seat. We're in the air. Everybody has their seats. Yeah. But she's still coming around and being like diligent. And I'm like, okay, she's going by the book. And sometimes that's a big deal. Sometimes it's not a big deal, especially when it comes to dogs.
We'll see.
In this situation.
We'll see now. What just recently happened was there was a German Shepherd, and
that fit in the overhead.
They did put it where it was supposed to go on the plane, and it was supposed to be a flight to Kansas. It ended up being taken to Japan.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Now nothing happened to the dog. The dog is fine. It's just in Japan.
Oh.
And the family's like, how did it get over there?
Airline?
United.
Oh.
And so now
that's their stick. Get on the plane. Who knows where you'll go?
Oh, I kind of like that. So now they're flying the dog back. They're flying it back first class, whatever that means for a dog.
In the overhead compartment in first class.
Well, you know what? The Big Bird costume flies first class
my
from
gosh.
Sesame Street.
Oh, well, yeah.
Bird.
Yeah.
But that's a celebrity, though.
So, so what does that tell us as, because we're all pet owners. Are you a pet owner?
Yeah.
So what does that tell us about flying with our pets? I mean, should this not, make us change our minds? I mean,
I try to look at it like this way. If wherever, like, and I love my dog, but I also think about, a dog needs your attention. And if I'm traveling somewhere, am I going to be in a place where, one, it's going to be easy or welcome to take care of my dog? And if I'm going on a vacation and I want to travel and have a good time and do whatever, am I going to be even paying attention to my dog?
Right.
I would be better serving my pet to board them or find someone to sit for my animal.
That's kind of how I feel. Like, C and I cruise a whole lot and we travel a whole lot, but we have we have our sister come over and give. I have a Shih Tzu and we have a Lab. Like, you can't really travel with an 80-pound dog, and Shih Tzus require way too much attention.
Yeah.
It's just not their gig. So I think for me, I think everybody has to look at it in their own personal.
Right.
well, what I've discovered is, as much as you want to take your pets to experience certain things, pets don't like to travel. They are fine with being at home. They are
really
fine with going in the backyard and going to the dog park. They couldn't care less that you are taking them all over the world.
And
leave them at home.
And 5 years from now, it's not like you're going to sit there with your dog and reminisce about that time and went to Kansas.
Simon and I talk about how we go to Half Price all the time. We reminisce about those books.
So I'm gonna ask for y'all.
And his puppuccinos.
You and your drugs.
I'm gonna ask y'all. I'm gonna ask y'all for a favor. So I'm gonna come over here and get ready to go to commercial break. So I'm gonna let y'all close out the show. We have 20 seconds. Close it out and take us to commercial.
Go, Joe.
What are we closing out? I want to see if my green M&M is invisible. Does it put a hole in my hand? I might have to get closer.
For any of you who
I've been
are
thinking about
curious
that.
as to what Joe Hosselton, a.k.a. Jenna Sky, does on her spare time, there you go.
It's important.
Hi,
So we're
I'm
gone.
Israel Luna. I've been a working filmmaker, editor, and writer since 2001. I've produced 10 full-length films, screened at some of the biggest film festivals like Robert De Niro's Tribeca Film Festival, and made deals with LA distribution companies, resulting in my films being in circulation nationally and internationally in movie theaters, digital formats, and retail outlets like Walmart, Best Buy, Target, and many others. It's been a crazy ride. A rough ride, but a very rewarding one. It feels good to wake up every morning knowing that filmmaking is my job. In saying that, remember, it is a job, but a fun one that I love doing. People have asked me many times, how do you do it? How can I make a living making movies? Well, it's not something I can easily answer because there are so many facets to it. And this doesn't just mean filmmaking. It's about making a living off of your artistic expression, whether it be filmmaking, acting, painting, dancing, or anything else you may be good at. Take what you love doing and monetize it. Which leads me to today. I've decided to begin a weekly workshop to help guide you through all of the ins and outs of making a living from your art and creativity. I'm here to lead you into being your own boss as an artist and creative, just like me. I'll do my best to have you live, breathe, eat, sleep, and most importantly, live financially on your creations and artistic expression. I'll see you there. There you go. That one. There you go.
Oh, she's
awesome.
fancy.
Hi, everybody.
Wow.
Welcome back. Miss Tammy Nash is now our producer and switcher behind the computer there. Okay, so we were talking about United Airlines. So let's change the subject. Let's talk about RuPaul for a second because, you know, she had already caused that controversy with that tweet that she sent out a few days ago. And now I'm on Facebook and I haven't watched this season.
I did.
But I've been seeing two things. One of them is, if you don't like anyone to tell you on social media who won, get off of social media. And I'm like, okay.
That's true.
And then from what I gathered from a second one was no one's happy with the winner. What's going on?
Oh,
Fill
I
me
don't
in.
know.
Fill me in.
I'm gonna let Joe because I haven't watched.
I've watched, and I've even had that moment where you win a pageant and your moment is memed or tarnished
true,
because you weren't the one that necessarily the fans and the audience wanted. I made fans in the audience that week, but it's, you know, we all are team somebody, and you know, especially girls that have been doing this a long time and have.
You're saying a lot of people weren't happy when you won?
No, I was a first-time girl. I walked in my first try and
That's
won.
right, bitches.
And
Oh,
it was
that's
more, I think
probably
it was
why.
more the
And I was
contestants.
brand new.
I
Yeah,
think it was more
and
the
that's why.
contestants than it was the actual people watching the pageant. I think, you know, the audience themselves saw who the clear winner was, but I think the people and the contestants that had been competing for years and thought it was their turn and felt entitled because like this was their year.
And that's the
those
problem.
were the
and
people.
that's the same problem here, that it's, to me, what I think is misleading about the All Stars 3 is that you have them lip sync for their lives. So are you judging that performance and basing your decision, or are you considering like what they do on Chopped or on Project Runway? We're gonna look at the entire body of work. And when you look at you know, the winner, she was rough at the beginning, but then, you know, she figured it out and clicked and was awesome and awesome and awesome and awesome and awesome. And so this whole season, she had progress, she had growth, she had improvement, and she was excellent there toward the end. And Kennedy's my sister, and I love the girl. She was all over the place. She would be sickening one moment and then wouldn't be the next moment, and then would be, and so she was kind of all over the map. Is she probably the most entertainer on that cast of all the seasons? Yes. And I mean, we've been watching her in Brazil on a tour with production numbers. I mean, the girl is amazing to watch with and without dancers. I mean, just amazing to watch. So that doesn't negate anyone else, you know, and their talent, but I think in this moment, what they were judging and what RuPaul and the producers were looking for was maybe collectively what was on this show, not what was outside of it.
So although we will give away spoilers here, because I mean, I do want to talk about this, is so who won and who did everyone want to win that's causing this controversy?
Well, the top four were Trixie Mattel, Kennedy Davenport, Shangela, and
Bibi Zahara
Bibi
Benet.
Zahara Benet, who was...
Ooh, okay, so those are all like...
Yeah.
Well, she
and
was the
Bibi-
twist in the beginning because she had already won season 1.
Yeah, she's the
She
only
was already
winner
a
they might
winner.
come back. And there was rumors that she was like a mole.
I heard that like the last 2 episodes.
Yeah, that you know, I kept waiting for that because I really thought there might be some truth to that she was going to suddenly be like, I've been spying on you all this whole time. That never happened. She was really a candidate. But everyone sort of viewed her as though she, you know, has had her moment. And the kicker, the twist on this final episode was that there were 9 girls originally on All Stars 3, and the 6 that had been eliminated, was there 9 or 10?
I don't know.
I guess there was
There
10.
was 10.
There was 10. So there were the 6 that had been eliminated got to pick out of the last 4, the 2 that got to perform.
Okay, sort
Yeah.
of Survivor-ish.
Yes.
kind
It
of
is,
thing.
but they made very clear points. BB has had this title for 10 years, and to their opinion, she hasn't done much with it.
Yeah.
And not nearly as much as Shangela or Kennedy or Trixie or even Morgan. And Morgan was the first to go on the first episode.
Right.
And so that was a big kicker, from my opinion, is how I feel, is that that's a huge light bulb. Like, hey, that is so true. You've had this title for 10 years. Do you have any musical numbers that you do on a regular basis? Do you have any movies that you've been in? Where's your portfolio?
But why is that? Like, why is that the caliber or the meter or the litmus test of success? Like, if she's a drag queen, what if she just wants to stay? Like, not every drag performer needs to have a fucking album. Not every drag performer
that's
needs
true.
to be in
Well, but
movies.
I
Like,
think
some
it was-
people just want to be badass drag artists.
Then
And
this
that's
show is
okay,
not
too.
for you.
So who did everyone think was going to win?
Shangela.
Shangela.
I
okay.
did not know the winner was going to be that winner.
And who
I didn't
won?
either. Trixie Mattel.
Okay.
And and honestly,
Trixie's kind of new, right?
no, she's season 7.
I relate to Trixie
7?
quite a bit because she's.
I think so.
I think she was 7. She made a comment in one of the early episodes when she was struggling that she's like, before I was ever on RuPaul's Drag Race, in my community, I was a Beyonce entertainer. And then I came on this show and suddenly I was below average and struggling.
She was Michelle.
And yeah, and exactly. I think that's how she said it, actually.
Poor Michelle.
But she was like, she was struggling. And so she's sort of commanded off the stage. And this show is a major anxiety for her. And so she conquered that on this episode, on this season. And so that was amazing to watch. And so I appreciate that because, you feel like at home, you're good in the show, but at a pageant sometimes you're not, or when you're at a certain venue you're not. That was a battle for her.
So then what's happening on social media? The fact that now that she's won, are people, what's the controversy?
But you
Are
know
people
what?
just being hateful to Trixie? Is that what's going
They're
on?
not being hateful to Trixie, but they're not celebrating the fact that she was the one.
They did the
chosen as
exact
winner.
same thing to
Every winner in any competition.
What's
that's
her
on.
name?
Exactly.
Alaska Thunderfuck. She had leaked her own stuff that the guy that she was dating during All Stars 3 was being shown on television. A bunch of stuff was happening with her in her personal life, and the person that she was dating had leaked all this information about her winning the show. That was the biggest controversy on her season of All Stars 2, and people didn't want her to win because she had broken contract. Mm-hmm. And that was the biggest thing with her and the public accepting her, and they were calling her a snake and it was a lot of things.
Why does that make her a snake, though? It's like everyone is trying to get this out of you. Like I was reading on Asia's thread last night, someone posting, "We already know you won because the person who made the crown is announcing it to everyone." It's like that person doesn't realize that if there's any truth to that the people that have signed NDAs are liable for
They're going to get in
hundreds
trouble.
of thousands and millions of dollars.
Yes.
And
That could
so-
sabotage the entire season.
Exactly. And there's no validity to it. Gossip is gossip, but everyone wants to act like they know and everyone wants to talk and wants to be the first to know. And so it's like, to me, it's no fault that people are prying into Alaska or to anyone that's on the show to find out these details. We do it. We all want to know where you've gone. And they don't do a very good job of like locking your phone down. They'd be smart, the girls that get cast, that they monitor your social media presence so that you don't disappear for 5 weeks because
So
we're
now-
not idiots.
Yeah.
with Trixie winning, did she, when you look at it, is it like fair? Like she kicked ass and she won?
She kicked
In-
ass.
All season, she kicked ass.
Okay.
In the lip sync for Your Life, Kennedy did a lyrical. It was amazing. It was beautiful and amazing. And she did Dolly Parton in Mama Cass' wardrobe. And it's like, to me, in that moment, I thought the entertainer is going to rise to the top. The girl who can engage and is going to have, Trixie's talent, she's a musician, she can play instruments, she can sing. She clearly has talent. But in that moment, singing Miley Cyrus,
Wrecking Ball.
it's like in that moment, the person who to me stood out was Kennedy. And so I was sitting there thinking like,
Really?
Kennedy is actually, she won this. And I was really excited. And they announced Trixie. And I can tell you, it was a face crack for me too. It was a total face crack. Because in that moment, I probably would not have chosen Trixie. Mm-hmm. I'm a US of A girl and we're comparative. And we're judging what's on stage presented. And what was presented was Kennedy is a star and Trixie wasn't. Does that mean that I have to hate Trixie's guts?
Yeah.
No.
So then what's Trixie's response to what's happening?
Girl, she's probably still counting her stacks at the bank.
Yeah.
Her $15,000 after taxes that she got.
Well, not that I run a pageant, but I run a film competition, and it's the same thing. And there was two winners ago that actually won 2 awards. One of them was like for best actor, and the other one was like outside the box or something. But they were still complaining because they didn't win best film. And I thought, come on, people. You've won 2 awards. So any advice to people about being sore losers?
Get over it.
That would be like Jordan Peele going, yeah, so I won for best original screenplay, but I didn't win for best film. Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
If you complain about winning about something, then you shouldn't have won.
Yeah, and I coach girls in pageants on this, that if your only objective is the title, is the crown, if you're not considering the job that comes along with that, then you're not doing this for the right reasons. If you're not appreciating that you have to invest and learn and grow and improve and work to grow through this process, that in itself, just getting to the stage for competition, you are improved. If that's not important to you in this process, you probably shouldn't be doing this.
Or if you're on a national stage, you beat out how many other people in your prelim and all this, and you're in the top
You're
5.
clearly
you beat out
accomplished.
how many you have already made steps towards whatever goal it is that you have.
But a lot of the girls, I think in both like avenues, in pageant system and on the show, they're just there for the fame, the fortune, the bonus that they get.
Well, you act
But I feel like that's a generational thing. I feel like that's the newer generation versus people who have been doing drag for over 20 plus years.
Right.
I kind of feel like that's a generation.
That may be true.
There's also the old school mindset that, in the day before social media and like VCRs, your only exposure was on your tour having won a title.
Yeah.
And that's how you built your name and became famous or household. And that's not the case anymore. So to me, it's like, why are y'all mad that she was crowned the winner? Kennedy and Shangela and BB and all those girls, their bookings aren't going to stop now.
Right.
Their pay's not going to go
wrong
down.
with
Like
them.
they're all still going to be booked and working and top of the game and featured. And she got one check from this that they're not going to get.
And a
so
title.
and
the
yeah,
title,
and that moment,
but
your
yeah.
picture gets to hang on the wall, but they're all going to be remembered. Like, I've talked to people that when I say things like, oh, I think she was on season 3. No, it was 4.
Yeah.
Oh, I cannot stand people like
Yeah.
that. Like, there's just too much. Like, I have a life. I cannot give a show the other 48 minutes that I have for the day. Like, no. Like, I can't remember all of that. And why should you? Like, it's just a show. It is what it is.
Well, one thing we cannot forget is that we have to cut to break. So we'll be right back, guys. Don't go anywhere. Hi, I'm Israel Luna. I've been a working filmmaker, editor, and writer since 2001. I've produced 10 full-length films, screened at some of the biggest film festivals like Robert De Niro's Tribeca Film Festival, and made deals with LA distribution companies, resulting in my films being in circulation nationally and internationally in movie theaters, digital formats, and retail outlets like Walmart, Best Buy, Target, and many others. It's been a crazy ride. A rough ride, but a very rewarding one. It feels good to wake up every morning knowing that filmmaking is my job. In saying that, remember, it is a job, but a fun one that I love doing. People have asked me many times, how do you do it? How can I make a living making movies? Well, it's not something I can easily answer because there are so many facets to it. And this doesn't just mean filmmaking. It's about making a living off of your artistic expression, whether it be filmmaking, acting, painting, dancing, or anything else you may be good at. Take what you love doing and monetize it. Which leads me to today. I've decided to begin a weekly workshop to help guide you through all of the ins and outs of making a living from your art and creativity. I'm here to lead you into being your own boss as an artist and creative, just like me. I'll do my best to have you live, breathe, eat, sleep, and most importantly, live financially on your creations and artistic expression. I'll see you there. Interesting.
Oh, I heard about that. I heard about that's how they do the.
So for those of you who don't know, during the break we were still talking about RuPaul's Drag Race. They shoot different
We don't
endings.
talk about that.
What? Even I knew that.
Okay.
I mean, like from seasons ago, because to keep the secret because of all of social media stuff, they have to shoot multiple endings of different people winning, so no one will know the final result until the night of, and that's kind of what happened this
It's
one.
like Game of Thrones and Walking Dead. They film like multiple endings.
Interesting.
Yeah, and did you know in shows like that, the script is on red paper, so you can't make copies of it.
Oh yeah,
Can you
because
not copy
red.
red paper?
No red.
Red and black on there. When
It-
you try to copy it, you can't
It
see
reads
anything.
black,
Wow, I
Yeah.
did not know that.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a
That's why
fancy
if,
trick.
if there's not enough light, red appears black.
I like that. I
Yeah.
have to remember that.
It started with Scream
All those
2.
lights up there.
Because
Scream 2.
Scream was so huge that when Scream 2, when they were shooting it, they said everyone's going to want to know who the killer is because it was like the new big whodunit horror
Yeah.
film. And so they printed all the script pages on
Interesting.
red paper.
Wow, did not know.
Blood red.
That's fancy.
I know. Okay, so changing the subject a little bit, a little on a little more serious note. So I've been watching the news, of course, every single day, and the kids, all of the walkouts from, is it nationwide?
Yeah, it was nationwide.
Yeah, from all of these kids who are protesting, and they're doing all of these really great things with the number 17 to represent the 17 that were killed in the Florida shooting. And it seems like, I think it started with Florida, where they're actually starting to make changes. 21 and up, I think, is now where...
Isn't the NRA suing Florida for that?
Yes,
Yeah.
the NRA is not happy about this. So I guess my question is, does it really actually seem that this is the beginning of something
I do.
actually happening?
think
I
so.
hope.
I think it's the beginning of something bigger.
Yeah,
And I think
Florida
that-
might go bankrupt.
I think the fact that Florida did that sends a huge message in the sense that you have to be 21 to buy liquor. And the reason why you have to be 21 to buy liquor, one of the reasons is because if you go when you drunk drive, you can kill people, blah, blah, blah. Same thing with guns. Guns, you can kill people. Like, it doesn't make sense that you can buy guns at, 18? Is that the age?
Yeah.
But you can't buy liquor.
Well,
Vice versa.
last week we did have a
Child.
a guest who was, his defense to that, or his challenge to that was, so are you saying that they can serve their country and have a gun, but they can't purchase one on their own?
You're
But
not
they
serving your
can't fucking
country
drink either.
here,
If
right?
they're 18, they
Right.
can sign up, but they can't buy a drink before they fucking die. Hello,
Yeah,
same difference.
you have a reason to have an automatic rifle when you're in war and in
Exactly.
battle. So,
Yeah.
and if 18 is the age this country deems appropriate, then yes, there's a
war, yeah.
reason for that. But you being like roaming the streets and playing video games all the time and not contributing to society is not a reason to allow you to go out and buy a weapon so that when you get pissed off, you start shooting everybody up. Like that's
Yeah. Well, another one of the things that's changing as far as like the bill that they're putting out there is a longer wait period to purchase it, and also the other one is the what is that called, that excuse me, sort of like it's not. I keep thinking production adapter, something that you add to the gun to make it shoot quicker. What was that called?
Oh, it's like a not a magazine. It's
you turn it into a full automatic.
yeah.
So I think they're banning
There you go.
those.
Bump stock. That's what it is.
Yeah, the bump stock. So I think they're banning those. And
Yeah.
there was one more that I can't think of at the moment. But I mean, with those already, I'm thinking, okay, yes, this is all good. So I'm wondering, there are still people that are complaining about it. I can't think of reasons why
we need all
those
that.
are not. I mean, those aren't ridiculous requests.
Yeah.
And I hope it's just the beginning of more.
Right.
So I'm really happy that that's happening.
I work for a university, and I feel confident that won't ever have to experience an active shooter on my campus. But the fact that it's something that I do think about, and we have to be aware of personalities that are strong and questionable, and we have to monitor, and we have to be aware and report things like that. It's uncomfortable to me that that's the world that we now live in, that someone could be upset that they didn't get admitted, or they failed a class, or faculty has decided that they're not good for the program and recommends that they, be removed. And, we've had international students that question that, because when you're not active in the program, you have to go home to your country and, your visa status. And we've had students come in and faculty come in that are angry and irate and challenge staff, challenge other faculty and the administration. And there's moments like that you think, is this the moment? Is this when it's going to happen, that they're going to pull out a weapon and start shooting everybody? And the fact that is a reality for any school makes me nervous.
And it's not just schools. I think we have to look at what is the common denominator in everything that's happening. So you have like a rise in the school incidents, but this is going on in movie theaters. This was going on in clubs.
Orlando.
What is the one common denominator? Las Vegas at a concert. What is the one common denominator that you have in all of these things? A gun. And so for me, it's like in any situation that is a lot of people where, a collective group comes together, or a representation of things that you may not agree with, there is that fear that something like that could happen. And so it's not just school, it's pretty much in every facet in anyone's life. Anyone who goes out and lives in the world, there's an opportunity for something like this to happen.
Why do you think this shooting and these kids getting this started, why do you think that it happened now with this incident? Because there's been a lot of similar incidents like this. Why do you think?
I think because finally there's a group of people that were pissed off enough, and they understood that they had the power to change.
Well, some people might be upset at that comment, saying, wait, you're saying we weren't?
No, I'm not saying that, but where's our anger now? Where are we at now? What are we doing now? Yeah. We've forgotten. Yeah. We've forgotten. We did not take that moment and make changes like these kids are. Why? Because we'd rather be on fucking social media talking about RuPaul and being pissed off at Trixie Mattel than doing something about our community. Yes.
I think
this is why we're too complacent. Yeah. Our generation is too complacent, and these kids have enough anger, and they realize this has got to stop now.
Things have always been okay, even when they were bad. But after the last presidential election, things got exponentially worse. And it was because we were too consumed with what was going on our media thread and not what was going on in the world around us. And we were posting, not using our voices. And I think now everyone's sort of, especially the young people, are at a state of, I don't want to say panic, but control. Like if the grown-ups aren't going to do this, then we're going to.
Right, because the grown-ups voted this person
and they have allowed this to happen.
We can't vote, so now we're going to vote with our voices, and we're going to vote with our action, because this is what you did to us.
You require me to go to school, and this is where they're killing us. So
exactly.
Well, this is where I've become really impressed is with this younger generation. We always talk about these millennials. We talk about these younger generations and how social media savvy they are, but they're not savvy to anything else. And I really respect the fact that they are proving themselves. These students, they're very well spoken when they're being interviewed on the news.
Yes,
they know what they're talking about. They have a goal. They have their mission statements. They know exactly what they want to see changed. I'm thinking this is a really great thing, and it's so ironic that it's these high school students that are changing.
Well, they're gonna be the forefront of the generation that we don't call millennials. I think.
Yeah, I think so
I think
too.
the millennials are college to 20-ish.
Yeah, I think so.
That's
because Generation X is out of there.
And awesome.
We're out. Yeah,
What were you gonna say?
They have to be on point and they have to have all this stuff almost memorized, because any slip up that they have, I mean, the people who are interviewing them, the public, their town, their city, their congressman, everybody is looking at them with a microscope. And if they say the wrong word, or if they print the wrong quote, something that discredits them and their credibility goes down. So then it starts to question, are they ready for all of the change that is headed to them? And
And it sounds like they are. I mean, seems like
so it's good that they're being, that they're practicing what they're going to say. They're writing it down. They're making it sound articulate and educated and everything, because it not only makes them look really good, it makes their school and their town and their state look even better, because they are sounding a lot more educated than the congressmen and the politicians that live and represent that area. So it's kind of like a pat on the back and a slap on the face.
Did the alleged, these are crisis actors, did that finally just go away? Because they were just looking for anything to discredit them.
That was embarrassing to the adults that were trying to challenge these kids, that they couldn't come up with an argument that could challenge their perspective and their stance. Right. And so they were trying to negate the credibility by chopping them off at their youth, their inexperience. Yep. The fact that a high school student is suddenly in the national forefront trying to speak on
his dead friends
and adulting, stuff that a high school student should not have to be dealing with. Mm-hmm. In high school, you need to be worrying about your prom dates and pimples and
And it was really great, because the same kid that they were saying was this crisis actor, he's the one that said, "We're the kids, you're the adults, and you're not saving us, you're not helping protect us, so we have to do it ourselves." Yep. And I was like, wow,
and as a
powerful words.
And as a congressman and a congressperson, when you try to berate these kids, how embarrassing for you that you've got to be a grown-up bully to a kid. That's like shoving a kid who kicks you in a restaurant or something. It's like you're a fool. You're just foolish.
You better start sending out your resumes, because you ain't getting hired again.
Well, guys, we have to cut to our last break, and then when we come back, we're going to close out the show. Don't go anywhere. We shall return. Hi, I'm Israel Luna.
Yeah.
I've been a working filmmaker, editor, and writer since 2001. I've produced 10 full-length films, screened at some of the biggest film festivals like Robert De Niro's Tribeca Film Festival, and made deals with LA distribution companies, resulting in my films being in circulation nationally and internationally in movie theaters, digital formats, and retail outlets like Walmart, Best Buy, Target, and many others. It's been a crazy ride. A rough ride, but a very rewarding one. It feels good to wake up every morning knowing that filmmaking is my job. In saying that, remember, it is a job, but a fun one that I love doing. People have asked me many times, how do you do it? How can I make a living making movies? Well, it's not something I can easily answer, because there are so many facets to it. And this doesn't just mean filmmaking. It's about making a living off of your artistic expression, whether it be filmmaking, acting, painting, dancing, or anything else you may be good at. Take what you love doing and monetize it. Which leads me to today. I've decided to begin a weekly workshop to help guide you through all of the ins and outs of making a living from your art and creativity. I'm here to lead you into being your own boss as an artist and creative, just like me. I'll do my best to have you live, breathe, eat, sleep, and most importantly, live financially on your creations and artistic expression. I'll see you there. I think we
I'm
picked you up saying
Bitch,
that.
I'm sure it already gave me syphilis
Guys,
anyway.
We are back, guys. We only have about 2 minutes, so I'm going to pass it on to my to my guests. How can people find you? Promote yourself, plug yourself, whatever you like.
God, I'm on Instagram under my sister Allie. The sisters will be out tonight at Sue Ellen's and then the Eagle. And you can find me on Snapchat under Mikey Mission.
Under what?
Mikey Mission.
Mike.
MikeyMission.
Mikey Mission. All right.
Hi, I'm Brandy Amar, searching for a new last name.
Wow.
I'm Brandy Amar Sky. You can find me at brandyamarsky.com. I also write for the Dallas Voice. I have an online column called Trending Tea that comes out weekly. I also have a new article on Asia O'Hara, weekly-ish, in the Dallas Voice. And you can listen to my new podcast called The Drag Show Podcast. It's an all-inclusive drag podcast, and you can find it on iTunes.
I was listening to it this morning.
Oh, cute.
And I'm living vicariously through my child because I'd sit at home and watch television when I'm not dressing up like a woman. And fantasize about chocolate man, clearly.
Yeah, with that microphone.
Right.
Yes. Help Joe out. He's
Single.
single. He's single. And I just wanted to take a moment to promote my 2 things. This evening is my life drawing class. If anyone would be interested, we have 2 live nude models, beautiful, and we provide all of the supplies. That is this evening. Doors open at 7:30 and class starts at 8:00. That is here at my studio, and it's at 1499 Regal Row, Suite 308, located inside the courtyard. And also, a week from Monday, March 26th, I am having my my workshop that you've been seeing the promo to during the commercial breaks. The goal is for me to help guide you to live financially off of your art and creativity.
Is this just for filmmakers, or is this just for? I love that.
For anybody who is artistic or creative, I will help guide you to take that, monetize it, market yourself, and just get you going to where you can do that.
How much are your classes?
They are 30 per class. I'm doing them chunks of 4, 30 per class or 100 for all 4 of them. Yes. Ooh. So guys, thank you so much for watching. We will see you next Friday at 3:00. Have a great weekend. Thanks to my guests. Bye.
Say bye to the microphone, Joe.